Right. Well, Phil, what's happening? Appreciate all your contributions over the last load of months. Well, things have been a wee bit slack lately, but we've got a handful of things going on. When you had suggested about that style, or your man John Brewer's style, I looked them up, started looking at some of those things, and thought, oh, it'd be nice if I'd done you a wee video and a wee build, aimed at that. And then I had done it. About the next day, I'd heard that you were suggesting doing a larger build, so this may come up feel like a bit of a cop out.
So this was actually already in the works at the time that you suggested it, but what you're thinking about going back and now revisiting it like entirely,
Yeah.
and that's why we're really basically not posting this on YouTube, because
Well, it was more a sort of a tribute to you more than anything. It's like, here's at least we're thinking about you, but I do like the idea of doing a larger thing. I don't know if you remember Caverns, the build that's set in Gathering Dust. I was planning to change it into like an Elven treetop, but still doing that, but with the theme, with the ground structure is all based on Brewer's style of like pine forests and all. Because with the dimensions of them tree sizes, the trees would be enormous. I do plan to put a couple of enormous trees in, but it's like, where do you stop and how playable is that as a board? But I'm sure
unless you just do it as like a art diorama as opposed to just having any sort of playability about it, but you do want to cross over both of those things for all styles.
Yeah, we'll try and even do like a simple path through it, but mostly have a boulder with heavy moss and
Because most of Bauer's stuff is actually playable. Like, it is actually really great terrain for tabletop games.
Covered in it's going to be a lot of moss, like.
yeah. There's like fucking 100 quid's worth of moss. The models are probably worth more based on their raw materials.
Yeah, but as far as actually sculpting the models for in his style, I'm not a sculptor, like, so I probably wouldn't do it justice. But I'm sure if you'd still be interested in seeing that, or if you have any other ideas, we're totally open to hearing them. But essentially turning caverns into a forest and doing the style of Brewer, and then the top half more like an Elven treetop type,
like a Lothlorien thing.
As close to Lothlorien
as copyright can achieve without getting
or my
sued.
capability, we'll aim for the heavens and land in the trees, we'll get there.
Build a stairway to heaven, will we?
So I hope you enjoyed this wee personalized video for yourself, Phil, and continue to enjoy the videos that we're doing, and I'm always happy to hear your suggestions, your criticisms. We're always glad to hear from you. Thanks very much, really do appreciate all the contributions. Thank you. As far as like drawing and stuff goes and colouring, I do a lot of sketching, but I wouldn't rarely colour things, partly colourblind, so I always assume it's wrong, but so I always try and shy away from paint. Like I say in the videos, I'm not really a painter, but obviously you have to, you can't just have everything black and white.
Like, painting on paper is a very different art style though, it's not the same as painting models.
Yeah, well, you can see here I'm more comfortable with markers and a barrel.
From the amount of hours that you spend in school just sketching away all the time.
Essentially. But I think it turned out well. It's not exactly like as a wee rendition or as a wee homage to it. Obviously the man would stay. I don't like how the moss came out. I don't know how better to represent that. I think the markers are
blue. I think blue would have been a better colour.
Just went mad, I think. And I didn't part of me, for some reason, I didn't even follow the fucking drawing too much. I just kind of went, in that flow thing where you're just like.
Yeah, but it's more for like a mental conceptualization rather than actual, like, using it verbatim.
Yeah, copying. You can see here one of our floor tiles.
Asbestos-free floor tiles?
The asbestos-free ones, at least I hope so.
You don't know it's maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Maybe that's what's happening. It's the best thing ever did. You try to explain to your missus why you're keeping old floor tiles from the fucking 80s.
What are you thinking about making that into a full 3D
Yeah, like,
cave?
well, they have flipped the rounded. Is there a lot of rounded boulders? You know, it's not. I usually do like a shale rock, you know, the bouldery type stuff. And not in this case because it's a cliff face, but the bouldery stuff with the moss on it. I mean, the only way I can imagine, you'll not be able to do it out of cardboard, so I'll have to use like a shitty foam and then base it. I've done it once before, but it didn't like cut it turned out like in the early days of doing building terrain, which would have been
Over here, right?
yeah, just before the channel came out. It wasn't like I came into this swinging like expert like, or had been building many things. In fact, I'd love this. If I could even get an image of it, the image in my mind burned into my mind of the first thing I ever built when I was a kid, you know, and it was an abomination. It was like I cannot describe it. It was glued builder sand on a plank with a painted blue river, you know, it's a plastic stuck to it. It was brutal.
I just did something similar, but it was with styrofoam. But I remember seeing a skillet and the way it was with the wee steps, so I started knocking holes in it, and I was like, "Oh, this is like class B route." It was just a white bit of styrofoam, but in my head, I could see it like fully rendered.
I know you'd be ashamed of seeing those things now, but obviously it surprises you if you've spent the time doing something, how much wee things you can pick up. Obviously, watching other makers too, like our likes of who would have been the first one. There was a dude called Bauer who was. He did a wee story at the start of his. I always appreciated it and all, but his builds were good, made from cheap materials. And then who else was there in the earlier days? Geek Gaming or
Eric Hobby's workshop.
Another great maker. And
Boyle Hobbies.
On another level. Same with Bill making stuff.
Yeah, he goes without saying, doesn't he? He's basically the king of crafting.
Dark Matter Workshop. Loads of them, and after trying to pick up, who's the dude, Canadian, Black Magic Crafts, he's another one, he's good.
Was Barcraft the guy that walks away with a sword into the forest at the end? Yeah.
He goes the way of the warrior, as he says it.
The way of the warrior.
Good for him. But his videos, I mean, he did well, and he got good response. I don't know if he was tortured on the other side of the thing. He was too involved in the community.
Not the actual what's in the picture, but that looks class as a version of like granite or red granite, you know, where it's got marble through it or something like that.
Seen a great, you know,
like if you, basically that could have been great with a lacquer over the top of it, make it shiny, and then finish.
Like a polished stuff.
Yeah.
There's a guy who, our hobby workshop done a basin video for his models, and he stretched a baby wipe over the base and then sprayed it black, so it had he had a grey base, then he pulled the thing over it and sprayed it white, peeled it off, and it looked like marble, and he just accentuated it with a fine tip with a white, and it was an amazing marble effect. Then you just glaze the top of it, and then it looks like a piece of marble, you know. So if they weren't learned from other makers, they were accidental. Like, I mean, the tissue paper, I don't even know why I did it the first time.
Because you remember from, what do you call it, Art Attack back in the day? Paper mache?
Yeah, well, that's it. I wanted to put texture on the cardboard and try and hide some of them. You can see them there, the lines in black cardboard, and unless you pick the best of stuff, we moss things, kind of like the way I do the timber pattern, if you know what I mean. Obviously a bit more wobbly. But,
lichens.
Yeah, I mean, we see them on rocks and shit here. I mean, that's a bit of an extreme line, but once the wash goes, it completely disappears. I have to do it again.
They just washed it off for some reason.
The shitty marker.
Yeah.
I wash these things, I mean, look at all the texture it lifts, and then if the dry brush to catch the highlights.
I wonder if you could actually do those patterns in 3D, like paper mache, and then put it on, and then wash it, and then it would leave that stain rather than drawing them on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something like that there. As you can see, that's what happens when you draw them on.
Oh, you could use that liquid latex.
Oh yeah.
And then rub it off. So some green washes.
It is the right green to use there.
Yeah, and I don't do it that often. I don't know fucking why, but
So I mean, it's like I still don't believe that you're partially colorblind. Sometimes I'm like, but that's the correct use of color.
there's only certain colours and certain shades when they're against certain other colours. I don't know. That's what I'm told that I get colours wrong a lot. But the greenwashing, I've done a load of tails for a mate, and I used a black wash and a green wash, and the way they came up, it was amazing. I was chuffed with it. I haven't done it since. It's probably laziness more than anything. It's not laziness because I'm always running on a fucking deadline in a lot of ways, but it's
rush for time.
Yeah, it does a great job. Yeah, I'm trying not to do that anymore. I'm trying to keep the builds more or less good and consistent. Kill team, that shit show.
Well, you wanted to make it.
I did want to make it, but I thought I genuinely oversaw the size of the project.
Well, yeah, because I think we also underestimated how big it would grow as a project. Because like now it has to be, well, it's to feel like it'll be a revisited project very soon.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm working on in the background. So it's going to be a big build. Instead of doing a flat, I'm going to go up and around. Using the old boards, just cut them all up, and then I reuse, what was it? Power plant. Just reuse that.
Oh yeah, the concrete and rust.
Blend them whole, like, three things together, repaint them. Do a shitload of other stuff, more textures. I want to start using greens. Oh, T-Rain.
This is it as well, is like, because in a 3D environment, like rather than that they're being painted black, that should be full color. And if you did a 3D cave, the natural shadow of it would cause that blackness. Well, you know what I mean?
It'd be also good to get that fucking black 3.0.
Oh, yes.
Paint in the middle of that black. I think you could do shades of it and go down. It would look like a deep tunnel. You could do the trick with, like on the edge, slowly work in darker and darker, or a darker mix of 3.0, and it would just look like an abyss.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to look at it.
Yeah, this yellow came out stronger than I expected. Because they're tall markers, they're great markers. We're used to using shit ones. Graffiti markers from back in the day. But when I re-looked at the picture, there seemed to be a lot more colour in it than I expected. I think if we superimposed the wee woman and, I don't know, the wee angel girl thing.
We'll just have them fade in.
Yeah, over the top of that. Well, Phil, I hope you enjoyed that.
No, well, again, it will be revisited as well when you actually have the time to do.
When we go back, I'm going to do 40k for a few videos, and then bounce back again. Bounce in between fantasy and thing. And then maybe look at making just some big permanent boards would be great.
Sorry for taking so long for sending this over to you as well, because things have been going on in the background, but we appreciate your support anyway.
And as well, we're going to try and send you something. If you can have you can have this, or if you're more interested in something else, I'll send you a few pictures and you can have a scoop through them and try and get it sent over.
Alright, thank you very much.
Cheers, Phil.
We'll see you.
Bye.